Hi, I'm John Bolton, National Security Advisor to the Trump administration, and I'm here to simply explain to you, this is Russier Thing. This is where it gets hot, hot, hot with the Russian compromise. I'm talking the PP tape, but that doesn't exist, am I right? So what is compromise? Well, in Russian culture, compromise is short for compromising material. It's damaging information about a politician or a businessman or another public official. We're talking blackmail and extortion. The dirt, the goods. Have you ever heard of a honey trap? A sweet, hot lady may offer to get all your fantasies to come true. Well, don't you trust her. Don't you trust her. Trump is too smart for that. Too smart. He would never fall for it. Too smart. Have you seen his big brain? He's got the biggest brain, and that brain that's big, it's the brainiest. So why does everybody think that Trump is some kind of porn star in hiding with all these awesome videotapes that we're probably just all jealous of? I mean, what rich man hasn't filmed himself having sex with hot ladies on yachts? None of them. As we've already discussed, Trump took many trips to Russia, the first one being in 1987. So that would have been the first time that Russians had their big chance to score some compromise. But there is no way that they got to him. No way, no how. No way, no how, no way, no way, no how, no how, no way, no how. Did the Russians get dared on him on his second trip that he took in 1996? Well, if you ask me, the answer is still
no way, no how, no way, no how, no way, no how, no way, no how, no way.
There is no way that this Russian money came in that may or may not be flowing into Donald Trump's bank accounts. It's hard to know since he won't release his tax returns. Trump won't talk about it, but his sons have mentioned it in passing. Don Jr. said,
"We see a lot of money poured in from Russia."
So it must be true, right? Don Jr. went to Russia a lot too. Don Jr. made about half a dozen trips to Russia over the course of a year and a half. Well, wowee, golly. Now, Eric Trump is also on the record saying,
he said, well, we don't rely on American banks. We have all the funding we need out of Russia.
With all this money, let's buy some things in cash. No financing needed. $12.6 million for an estate in Scotland? Cash. 2 homes in Beverly Hills? Cash, cash. 5 golf courses on the East Coast? You guessed it. Cash, 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 cash. A winery in Virginia? All cash. Trump is rolling in cash. He has so much success, such a wealthy, wealthy man. The apple of all Americans' eyes, with a Russian sugar daddy. Do you really need to judge him for that? You think if Russia wanted to be so generous with you, no strings attached, that you wouldn't take it? You think you're some kind of sweet angel or a nun? You're not. Anyone with a big brain would do exactly what Trump did. He needed to keep himself on the top of the food chain. This revenue stream does not mean that he's comparable. He is a free man. The Russians ain't got nothing on Mr. Trump. Russian banks wanted to give Trump loads and loads of money when no one else would. There are no strings attached. This was simply from the goodness of their hearts. I just realized I have proof that there's probably not compromise. In November 2013, Trump's spectacular Miss Universe was set to be in Moscow. Now, while staying there for that trip, Mr. Trump was given a very special room at the Ritz-Carlton Moscow. It was reserved for only the most special people in the world. It was, in fact, the very same presidential suite that President Obama stayed in with his wife, Michelle, only a few years before. Now, when he arrived, a Russian approached Keith Schiller. Now, Keith Schiller was Trump's bodyguard, a renowned, awesome bodyguard. Super sexy guy with lots of big muscles. This Russian offered Keith Schiller, he said, "I will send 5 beautiful women to Trump's hotel room." Which Keith Schiller responded with, and here's a quote straight from Mr. Bodyguard himself, "We don't do that kind of stuff." Boom shakalaka! Nailed it! Hard proof, nothing happened. You hear firsthand from my second-hand accounts that Trump did not have 5 women come into that room, and I personally guarantee that there were no golden showers unless you're talking about Trump making it rain with his wallet. Trump, in fact, had some really important meetings that night over some super expensive sushi. He met a dozen Russian oligarchs. He is such an important man, including the chief officer of the state-controlled Sberbank of Russia. That's the nation's biggest bank. Such an international mover and shaker is Trump. So when you hear this gobbledygook about a Christopher Steele dossier, you just look the other way. That was a Clinton-funded hit job full of fake news scandal. Sure, the dossier was started by a Republican Political Action Committee, but Clinton picked up the torch like it was a damn shuttle relay race to the Oval Office. Steele was a retired British MI6 agent that was gathering intel as a side job. If anything, this is proof of collusion with the British government by the Clinton campaign. Lock her up! Lock her up! Well, this concludes another episode of This Russier Thing. I really hope you enjoyed yourself and learned something about our dear leader, Donald Trump, the most wonderful man in America, bar none. Please continue watching this series where I read over my book, This Russier Thing. If you want to learn more, it's really so simple, not complicated at all. Donald Trump is a wonderful man, and when you really look at it, you're going to realize there is nothing to see here, just a wonderful man and a timeless American tale. Thanks for listening to Papa John Bolton.